In the reign of the last king of the Yin dynasty, Confucius said, there were 3 men of philanthropic spirit: the Viscount of Wei, who withdrew from him; the Viscount of Qi, who became his bondsman; and Pai Kan, who reproved him and suffered death. Footnote 1. For the sake of clearness, I have here inverted the order of 2 sentences which make up the paragraph, otherwise they are unintelligible, except to one well acquainted with Chinese history. The last king of the Yin line was a sort of Nero. See my introduction to the Shiking, page 17, where these 3 men are referred to as his ministers, admonishing the tyrant in turn, the last having his heart torn out for his pains. Wu of Liu Xia, who filled the office of chief criminal judge, was thrice dismissed. A person remarked to him, "Can you not yet bear to withdraw?" He replied, "If I act in a straightforward way in serving men, whither in these days should I go, where I should not be thrice dismissed? Were I to adopt crooked ways in their service, why need I leave the land where my parents dwell?" Footnote 1. In lieu, see Book 15.13. Duke King of Tsi remarked respecting his attitude towards Confucius, "If he is to be treated like the chief of the Qi family, I cannot do it. I should treat him as somewhere between the Qi and Meng chiefs. I am old," he added, "and not competent to avail myself of him." Confucius, hearing of this, went away. The Tsi officials presented to the court of Lu a number of female musicians. Qi Huan accepted them, and for 3 days no court was held. Confucius went away. Xieyu, the madman of Su, was once passing Confucius, singing as he went along. He sang, "Ha, the phoenix! Ha, the phoenix! How is virtue lying prone? Vain to chide for what is o'er, plan to meet what's yet in store. Let alone, risky now to serve a throne." Confucius alighted, wishing to enter into conversation with him. But the man hurried along and left him, and he was therefore unable to get a word with him. Footnote 1. He only pretended to be mad in order to escape being employed in the public service. Footnote 2. Reminding him, perhaps, of his own words, see Book 9.8. Zhongzi and Qi Ni were working together on some plowed land. Confucius was passing by them and sent Zilu to ask where the ford was. Zhongzi said, "Who is the person driving the carriage?" Confucius answered Zilu. "He of Lu?" he asked. "The same," said Zilu. "He knows then where the ford is," said he. Zilu then put his question to Qi Ni, and the latter asked, "Who are you?" Zilu gave his name. "You are a follower of Confucius of Lu, are you not?" "You are right," he answered. "Ah, as these waters rise and overflow their bounds," said he, "'tis so with all throughout the empire. And who is he that can alter the state of things? And you are a follower of a learned man who withdraws from his chief. Had you not better be a follower of such as have forsaken the world?" And he went on with his harrowing, without stopping. Zilu went and informed his master of all this. He was deeply touched and said, "One cannot herd on equal terms with beasts and birds. If I am not to live among these human folk, then with whom else should I live? Only when the empire is well ordered shall I cease to take part in the work of reformation." Footnote 1. 2 worthies who had abandoned public life owing to the state of the times. Zilu was following the master, but had dropped behind on the way when he encountered an old man with a weed basket slung on a staff over his shoulder. Zilu inquired of him, "Have you seen my master?" "Sir," said the old man, "who is your master? You who never employ your limbs in laborious work." You who do not know one from another of the 5 sorts of grain." And he stuck his staff in the ground and began his weeding. Zilu brought his hands together on his breast and stood still. The old man kept Zilu and lodged him for the night, killed a fowl, and prepared some millet, entertained him, and brought his 2 sons out to see him. On the morrow Zilu went on his way, and told all this to the master, who said, "He is a recluse," and sent Zilu back to see him again. But by the time he got there, he was gone. Zilu remarked upon this. It is not right he should evade official duties. If he cannot allow any neglect of the terms on which elders and juniors should live together, how is it that he neglects to conform to what is proper as between prince and public servant? He wishes for himself personally a pure life, yet creates disorder in that more important relationship. When a gentleman undertakes public work, he will carry out the duties proper to it, and he knows beforehand that right principles may not win their way. Footnote 1. That is, without answering the question or waiting for a reply to his own. This old man was another of those worthies who had withdrawn from the world in disgust. Footnote 2. The attitude when making a bow. His respectful demeanor softened the old man. Footnote 3. Enough had been shown to Zilu, during his stay, of the good training the 2 sons had received. Among those who have retired from public life have been Pei Yi and Shi, Yu Jung, Yi Ye, Chu Chong, Hui of Yusha, and Shao Lin. Of these, said the master, Pei Yi and Shi may be characterized, I should say, as men who never declined from their high resolve nor soiled themselves by aught of disgrace. Of Hui of Yusha and Shao Lin, if one may say that they did decline from high resolve, and that they did bring disgrace upon themselves, yet their words were consonant with established principles, and their action consonant with men's thoughts and wishes, and this is all that may be said of them. Of Yu Jung and Yi Ye, if it be said that when they retired into privacy they let loose their tongues, yet in their aim at personal purity of life they succeeded, and their defection was also successful in its influence. My own rule is different from any adopted by these. I will take no liberties. I will have no curtailing of my liberty. Footnote 1. I think this is without doubt the meaning of the almost untranslatable words.
无可无不可.
Without possibilities or freedom to act, without impossibilities. He would do what he thought was right under the circumstances, and not slavishly follow anyone's example. The chief music master went off to Shi. Kan, the conductor of the music at the second repast, went over to Zhu. Liao, conductor at the third repast, went over to Sai. And Kaiwe, who conducted at the fourth, went to Jin. Fengsha, the drummer, withdrew into the neighborhood of the Ho. Wu the tambourer went to the Hon, and Yang the junior music master, and Xiang who played on the musical stone, went to the sea coast. Footnote 1. These are given as examples of men who retired from Lu, disgusted with the state of things at the court. Confucius had made reforms in the music. See Book 8.15 and Book 9.14. And taught these men what was proper in regard to the words as well as the music employed. But the disorder and usurpation of imperial state by the Duke was too much for even the musicians. It was the custom for the feudal lords to have 3 meals a day, at which the musicians performed. At the imperial court there were 4, with separate conductors at each. The Duke of Lu aped the sovereign in this. Anciently, the Duke of Chao, addressing his son the Duke of Lu, said, "A good man in high place is not indifferent about the members of his own family, and does not give occasion to the chief ministers to complain that they are not employed. Nor without great cause will he set aside old friendships. Nor does he seek for full equipment for every kind of service in any single man. Footnote 1. So in the commentaries, but the words
不失
might, with the more common tone, have the opposite meaning, does not put forth or display. I.e. give preference to them in promotion to office. There were once 8 officials during this Chou dynasty, who were for pairs of twins, all brothers, the eldest pair Ta and Kuo, the next Ta and Wa, the third Yi and Xia, the youngest Sui and Kwa. Footnote 1. So again in the commentaries. As Dr. Legg says, in Locke, one mother, bearing twins for times in succession, and all proving distinguished men, showed the vigor of the early days of the dynasty in all that was good. Thanks for watching. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more excellent content.